So, what if I told you there's a way to secure a huge crypto network, not by burning tons of electricity, but by literally burning money? Yeah, you heard that right. We're going to dive into this absolutely wild idea called proof of burn. It's a really fascinating, though pretty controversial, shot at fixing one of crypto's biggest headaches.
All right, so to really get why anyone would even think of mining with fire, you've got to understand the problem they were trying to solve. And boy, is it a big one. We're talking about the absolutely insane amount of energy that traditional crypto mining eats up, especially with proof-of-work systems like Bitcoin.
Just take a look at this number for a second. We're talking 135 terawatt hours. According to estimates from Digiconomist back in mid-2021, that's how much electricity the Bitcoin network was using in a single year. It's just a mind-boggling amount of power.
And here's where it gets really crazy. To put that number in perspective for you, at the time, Bitcoin's energy habit would have ranked it 28th in the entire world, for countries. It was using more electricity every year than a whole developed nation like Sweden. I mean, wow. It's that colossal footprint that really got people scrambling for a better way to do things.
And that, right there, brings us to this pretty radical idea from a developer named Ian Stewart. He thought, okay, instead of this endless arms race for bigger, faster, more power-hungry computers, what if miners had to compete in a different way? What if they had to make a direct, provable, and permanent financial sacrifice?
And that, my friends, is the heart of proof of burn. You're not proving your commitment to the network by doing a bunch of computational work. Nope. You prove it by taking your coins and sending them into a digital abyss, a special kind of address where they can never, ever be recovered. You're basically swapping out the cost of energy for a straight-up economic cost.
So let's break that down. The huge difference here is what work actually means. In proof of work, you're burning electricity to solve a math puzzle. But in proof of burn, you're burning your actual currency. So one's a commitment of physical resources, and the other is a purely financial one. It's a total paradigm shift.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. How on earth does just destroying money secure a network? It sounds totally backwards, right? But the way it works is actually pretty clever. So let's walk through it.
It really boils down to 3 simple steps. First, the burn. You send your coins to what's called an eater address. It's verifiably unspendable. They're gone for good. Second, the proof. That transaction gets recorded right on the blockchain where everyone can see it. It's your public receipt, your proof of commitment. And finally, third, the reward. Based on that proof, the network gives you the right to mine new blocks. And, as you'd guess, the more coins you burn, the better your chances are of getting those rewards.
Now here's the really cool way to think about it. The coins you burn aren't just lost. They're actually transformed. They become your virtual mining rigs. It's a great analogy, right? The more coins you've burned, the bigger and more powerful your virtual rig becomes, all without using a single watt of electricity. But hold on a second. What's to stop some rich whale from burning a massive pile of coins on day one and just dominating the network forever? Well, that's where this clever idea of decay comes in. Think of it like this. The power of your burned coins, your virtual mining rig, slowly fades over time. This curve here kind of shows how that influence diminishes as new blocks are found. So to stay in the game, you have to periodically burn more coins. It keeps things competitive, which is a feature that early projects like Slimcoin used. So let's recap. It's super energy efficient, and it forces a long-term commitment. Sounds pretty great, doesn't it? Which leads to the big question. If it's so good, why aren't we all using proof of burn? Well, as it turns out, this idea of mining with fire has some really serious problems. I'm talking potentially fatal flaws.
Yeah, this is where the beautiful theory of proof of burn kind of crashes into some harsh practical realities. The very things that make it sound so cool are also the things that create huge risks, and they're why it's never really taken off.
And the biggest barrier, the absolute showstopper for most people, is this: irreversible loss. Think about it. With proof of stake, you lock up your coins, you stake them, but you can get them back. With proof of burn, they are just gone. Poof, forever. That is a massive financial and, honestly, psychological hurdle to ask someone to jump over, especially in the crazy, volatile world of crypto.
Next up, we've got a major risk of centralization. The whole idea is that anyone can play, but let's be real. The ultra-wealthy can afford to burn way more money than the average person. So what happens? They can just buy up a huge amount of mining power and gain way too much control over the entire network.
And then there's a huge problem that game theory points out. Just ask yourself, why would any sane person burn a valuable, proven currency like Bitcoin just to earn some brand new, totally unproven token? It doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Most of the time, you're just better off holding onto your Bitcoin. This is called the bootstrapping problem, and it makes launching a new proof-of-burn chain incredibly difficult.
And if that wasn't enough, there's a technical nightmare scenario waiting in the wings. Simulations have actually shown that a pure proof-of-burn system, one without any kind of backup, can just stop. It can deadlock. If nobody's burn is big enough to meet the network's difficulty, the blockchain can just grind to a halt. No new blocks, no new transactions. It's just game over.
But wait, the story doesn't just end there in failure. While the pure version of proof of burn might be a dead end, that core idea, using an established, valuable currency to secure a new one, that was just too smart to throw away completely. So the idea didn't die. It evolved.
And we have a perfect real-world example of this. The team building the Stacks blockchain, they actually wanted to use proof of burn at first. But, just like we talked about, they slammed right into that bootstrapping problem. They even admitted it in their own white paper. It was a tough sell getting miners to literally destroy their Bitcoin for a brand new currency. So what did they do? They came up with an evolution, something they called proof of transfer, or POX. And the difference is so simple, but it's absolutely brilliant. Instead of sending Bitcoin to a dead-end address to be destroyed, miners transfer it to other people in the Stacks network, specifically to people who are adding value, like by locking up their own Stacks tokens.
And this one tiny change fixes almost everything. Right away, it solves that bootstrapping problem, because now the miner's Bitcoin isn't being destroyed, it's being used to reward other users. This creates this awesome circular economy where suddenly everyone has a real incentive to get involved. You're keeping the value inside the system instead of just setting it on fire.
So what's the big takeaway here? Look, proof of burn by itself is probably too flawed to ever really hit the big time. But it was so important because it forced everyone to think completely differently about what work and investment even mean for a blockchain. It was this wild, radical idea that, even though it wasn't practical, directly led to much better, more workable systems down the road. So, was it just a failed experiment, a dead end, or was it actually a crucial stepping stone? Now that's something to chew on.